weekdays from 12 to 2, right here on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside ESPN's John Anderson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the John Anderson Homer Hour. Normally I do intense prep, which only my wife can support because she'll say the radio and TV are on 24/7 on sports. The guy, he preps every second when he's not sleeping, and I wish he had a different rule. Most wonder how much prep you need to do for a 1-hour show, which technically is probably 46 minutes. And people think I do no prep, and my wife would like to disagree with that. I did no prep today because this is Super Bowl week, and I had the greatest conversation or listening to Brian Bulaga yesterday about his memory of the Super Bowl in 2010. And I know John Anderson has 5 hours of story about the Super Bowl and his various experiences at ESPN. It's only going to be a question of how much of them he remembers or wants to say. But that's what the show is now. We can discuss Giannis or discuss the Packers. We can do all that for all the time that exists. But this is Super Bowl week, and I have John Anderson on only once, unless he has a wish to do otherwise. I am open to all of his Super Bowl stories, from first asking how many years back do you remember Super Bowls, which I believe I'm correct, because this was a trivia. The first 2 Super Bowls were not Super Bowls. They were called the AFL or Correct. AFC or AFL championships, and then they changed to call them the Super Bowl. The first real Super Bowl was Super Bowl III. But I'll defer to anything that says that what I just mentioned was inaccurate. But
it's right. It's like asking about Vince Lombardi and Mike Holmgren and Mike McCarthy and ask which one never won a Super Bowl, one never won a Lombardi trophy. And it's Lombardi.
That's nice.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will use that. I like that.
Yeah, he won the NFC AFC championship game trophy, which
That's right.
I'm trying to think full on, like as a kid. I'm trying to think of ones I remember. The first one, like I don't. If you go through them, like I don't remember Namath. I was too young, kind of, for that to remember.
That was number 3, right?
Yep, I don't remember the Chiefs and Vikings very well.
Yeah.
I always remember what Super Bowl it is, not because I'm a whiz with Roman numerals, but I am the same age as the Super Bowl. So when I go, how old are you right now? I'm like, I'm 60. So that means we're on Super Bowl 60. So that's always cool.
Nice.
That I never mess up what Super Bowl it is.
I might call you Super Bowl when I don't call you 7-2.5. I know which one you prefer. Keep going.
So I remember, I kind of probably remember the Dolphins team, their perfect team in 72 is probably the first one. I was 7. Because I remember Gary Yepremian and the kick and Mike Bass taking it back.
And I believe Super Bowl 7, I think Bob Greasy threw like 7 passes.
There's some connection. And leading all the way up to that, Earl Morrall had played because he broke his leg during the Greasy broke his leg during the season. So I know that's, to use your terminology, that's Don Hudson stuff. I really remember the Viking Raiders one because for whatever reason, I really wanted the Raiders to win that game. I don't have any particular affinity for them. My favorite part about that game is, that's the last Super Bowl that was played entirely in the sunshine.
I did not know that.
That was the last complete day game at the Rose Bowl there when John Madden and the Raiders won.
Did they switch to 5 o'clock after that? Was it? Did they go to that
They
time?
might have, but some of that was just because it was in the West Coast too, is when they did that. But that was, for whatever reason, that's the last one that was played completely in sunshine during the day. First one I went to when I was working in Oklahoma was the Cowboys' second one when they beat the Bills in Atlanta. That was the first one I attended.
Wait a minute. Why are you going to Super Bowls? You're working in Oklahoma. Should be going to rodeos. What?
Well, there's true, but then you figure you had Jimmy Johnson, who had coached at Oklahoma State. You had Troy Aikman, who was from Henrietta. You had Tanya Casillas.
Good point.
Good point. Played at OU.
I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. Listen, there's more than the Cowboy Jim Shoulders that's come out of Henrietta, Oklahoma. That's Troy Aikman as well. So we had a lot of reasons. And then when, after Jimmy left, you had Barry Switzer, who couldn't be a bigger name in sports in Oklahoma. We went there, followed them a bunch. They've kind of shifted in Tulsa now. They've gone with the wind. They've decided the Chiefs are their team, but the Cowboys. So I went to that one, which still, by the way, I will maintain had a better national anthem than Whitney Houston and in Tampa. So go listen to Natalie Cole and the Morehouse Choir.
You have no chance.
Guaranteed. It's much better.
Wow.
We're on the all-time list.
Marvin Gaye leave the show.
Marvin Gaye at the All-Star game. Then you have.
Well, that's when Marvin Gaye changed the word. I mean, changed the song, right? Is that the one you're referring to?
Play a little background track, and then you have Natalie Cole is, I think, best, and then Whitney Houston's really good.
Wait, you said it was Natalie Cole and
Natalie Cole. Just put Natalie Cole Super Bowl national anthem.
Okay,
it's great.
Would it be rude if I just left the show so I could listen to that? Because there's no possible way it could be better than Whitney Houston. However, I have a problem in that you don't make stuff up, as I'm accused of doing. You believe it, and you act like it's not even close.
I love the Whitney Houston version. I like that she just sang the song, right? She didn't go overboard. Like, she was such a good singer in the song, and that was it. She didn't do any crazy
stuff. She could sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and it would have been great. Okay.
Yes. But the remix that they put together is amazing. So that's the first one I went to, and it's amazing the difference between covering something for a local station and a local team than it is in ESPN. Because I'm trying to think of the ESPN games. I probably went to 3 or 4 of them at ESPN, and I don't know that I ever came within 15 miles of the stadium.
What? You're John Anderson.
You're anchoring. So, right, but you're anchoring a couple of shows. You're literally 15 miles from the stadium because you're at Scottsdale Fashion Mall. You leave before the game because I'm on Monday through Friday. I shouldn't say that. I guess I did post Super Bowl a couple of times. And I'll get to what I think is a funny story in that. But usually you're far away from the stadium because we have sponsored our coverage, and that sponsor is not NFL approved. So you got to be whatever outside of their safe zone, their advertising free zone. So then you go, you're in Fort Worth for the Dallas Super Bowl, or you're in Scottsdale for the one that's in Glendale. So you never get there. You throw to Sal Palantonio, who's on the field, or Ed Werder, who's down on the field, but you're never close to it because you can't get there and get down and get back. And so then you're just like, okay, I guess I'm part of the crowd. So it's always fun to go and be in around the atmosphere, but you're never close to the game where you are in everything else. If it was the NCAA championship in basketball or a college football playoff game, then you're all right there. But the Super Bowl was always just like, yeah, fun to go, but you're nowhere near the stadium or anywhere near the action. We were in San Diego. We were out on Embarcadero Park. We were right on the ocean. I was closer to a golf course on Coronado than I was to the stadium out in San Diego.
I embarrassed myself with a member of the media in San Diego. Someone asked me if I wanted to go to an Indian restaurant, and I said, dot on the forehead or Native American. They said, you're no longer invited. I thought it was being kind of funny, but I guess it's a long time ago. Back to your stories. Oh, I want to know your best atmosphere. Your best places.
The one in San Diego, I remember, because that was one where they didn't, for whatever reason, there was not 2 weeks in between. So we were flying out on that Sunday that it happened, and it was the Tampa-Oakland Super Bowl.
All right.
Forget why they had scrubbed the week in between, but we got out there. And I can remember I asked someplace, and I really am hungry. And they're like, what do you need? And I would like to go to I would love a steak. And they said, if you go down into the Gaslight District, there's a place called the Strip Joint. Very funny. Okay, I'll go to the Strip Joint. And so the guy comes by with the cart and like, here's your cut of, I would love that steak. Looks delicious. Then he brought it to me, and he's like, you go cook it over there. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, this is one of those make your own. And I said, well, what if I'm not into audience participation when I eat? Like, he goes, oh, for $3 more, we can cook it. I'm like, well, let's go and do that. But there were a lot of people that paid good money to go cook their own, like you could stay at home. But that was good.
Other places of best atmosphere or good atmosphere when you were at the various places for ESPN.
San Diego was fun because they hadn't been out there. Well, I guess the Packers had been the last one that was out there when they played there. And it was my first one for ESPN, so that was kind of exciting. Scottsdale was okay. Probably Miami. Miami's a good event town. Although, we did the whole show in the rain afterwards. Remember, that was the Peyton Manning one. That was one with Peyton Manning one. Remember how much it rained when he beat the Bears and Rex Grossman?
I did not remember. I don't understand why you had to deal with the rain.
Yeah,
don't they
terrible.
don't have things for you in case it
rains? I
mean,
we were undercover, but it was still blowing through, and it was just a miserable night. You don't think of that. Like, you think, oh, it'll be, Miami, this will be great. Well, at night it's not sunny, but you thought that would be great. But that one was, the weather was
all right.
awful.
The Packers Super Bowls.
Yeah, was never at any of them, which is a shame, right?
You're John Anderson. That's criminal. You should have gotten free stuff to the one in 2010. I mean, we got to have John Anderson there, and then 96 or 97. I don't. How does this happen?
I was working in Phoenix for both of them. I was working in Phoenix when they beat the Patriots.
Yeah, you weren't there.
I'm trying to think if I was still there the following year, or if I had moved on. What year was it was 33 they won, correct?
It was 96. It was the January of 97 and January of 98 or whatever.
Yes, I was in Phoenix for both those. I just left Tulsa. I was Phoenix. So, and then the one down in Dallas, I don't know why I didn't go to that. We rotated for a while. For a while, it was Levy and I went, and then it was Neil and Scott Van Pelt, and I don't know why.
If I would have known that, I would have done my various TV and radio and said, "Where's John Anderson? This is not correct. John Anderson's not here. What? Yeah. He's a Green Bay kid."
What's odd is the only one I really would have pushed for to go to when I was there was I was kind of hoping the Brewers had gone. If the Brewers had gone to the World Series, I would have gone in and said, "This I need to go to." That would have absolutely been like, okay, I will find something to do to make me of value to the ball club to go to that one.
What does your T-shirt say? The wise shall inherit the earth, or I can't?
Wise shall be the bearers of light.
Can I give you a new T-shirt that I wish you would wear?
What's it going to say?
Win the damn division! In Packer colors.
Yeah.
So I should probably put 2026 on it somewhere. I don't know. Should I want the T-shirt? I just love saying
right?
it.
They haven't won one in what? 3 years?
4. They're 0 for the last 4, I believe.
Okay. Well, that constitutes a drought, doesn't it?
Yes. If when he came, I believe LaFleur said, do you know when the third LaFleur might become head coach in the NFL?
Yeah.
I think this is incredible. One went to Elmhurst, played football as a quarterback, and then they changed him to wide receiver. And then Matt played at Central Michigan, or I can't remember. Think of that. 2 kids playing at those schools end up as head coaches in the NFL. I don't think anything is more surprising than that. Not even Indiana's national championship.
And then the Saints have a fleur-de-lis. So, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes. Nice addition. Nicely done. That's the sugar if you don't know John Anderson. He's got some salt coming, but we haven't had it yet. It'll probably come.
Right, because I think right now there should only be one LaFleur that's a head coach.
That's great. I was going to let you say that. I didn't know when it would occur, but I knew you have been, because I said before the Bears game in the playoffs, I wanted to give him a 1-year extension. But what I really wanted to do was to be the president of the Packers and say, Coach, you got 1 year left on your contract. We're honoring it. You will be the coach. I understand that that's not what you'd want, but if you do really well, I risk you leaving. But I want to see what you do. And I don't want to fire you because I think it was somewhat injuries, but I want to see what happens. And I don't want to, at the risk of losing you, I don't want to give you any extension.
I don't even know. I don't buy in the NFL or in pro sports the lame duck thing. Oh, they're not going to listen to you. Well, first off, they should be professionals. But this isn't like in college where you're like, I got to go recruit a kid and tell him maybe I could be here next year.
I'm in your club. I want to be in your club. I want to be protesting with you. People don't understand. Coaches are most concerned about their brand, their history, their brand, because that will determine what you do in the future. And 1 year, even 1 year, lame duck year for Matt LaFleur is incredibly important to him because it will be a part of his brand. And they want to. You make so much money doing this. It doesn't mean to me that they're necessarily selfish, but they understand the importance of their brand to have a future as a coach. He goes, has a bad year in his final year with the Packers. There may be teams that want him, but not as many, right?
Not as many, but I just don't. Again, and college recruiting has changed immensely now with NIL. But for the longest time, I got it, right. But you wanted that kid to go, okay, yeah, I have some. I'm going to be here for that time, and you want to do that. But in the pros, like Goody's going to be here. Are your players, and it's easy enough, right? You're like, if you don't want to play for whoever the coach is, well, then we'll find somebody who wants to. So I don't buy the lame duck status quite as much on that other side. But yeah, if you think that helps their brand, that like nobody wants to be fired, but in this case, any of them, you could can him tomorrow. He'll get hired in no time. Right. There's a bunch of guys you can tell their pedigree. Like, and I'm not trying to bang on Mike McCarthy. I thought he was great with the Packers. I think he did a serviceable job with Dallas and what he was given, and under the Jerry Jones, who I think is hard to work for, right? He keeps getting another chance. Like those guys will all get another chance,
Unless you are really bad and you embarrass. Right. That can be it. You got to have.
I noticed when Jim Schwartz was mad that he didn't get another shot whenever was it Cleveland that they hired,
right?
When they promoted the guy, and so not everybody.
Well, I don't you think Schwartz was saying privately, "Come on, it's Cleveland, it's the Browns. What's the standard? Like I'm not up to their standard. Come on." Don Morton was up to their standard. Now you'd have to be from Wisconsin to understand that was my little John Anderson salt.
You're really hard on Don Morton.
Yes, you had some great salt in your chat. What did you bring up that was long ago? And I thought only you could do that. It was about I think it was Anthony Mason. That's a beauty. Yeah. That's Hall of Fame, but you have to have been around because if you weren't, Anthony who? What? All right, enough. We got the Super Bowl from John Anderson. That's what I wanted. And now, Jason Wilde, next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
We've got delays on 41 southbound, just south of Appleton Avenue, all the way down past Capitol Drive. More delays then on southbound 894, south of Beloit Road, down into the Hale Interchange, all the way down and around, all the way to about Forest Home. Also, southbound 43, right at the ramp from 9th Street, we have the right lane blocked with a broken down vehicle on the southbound side. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, a few clouds with a low of 9 above. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 25. For the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Brewers mini ticket plans for the 2026 season are available now with 6-game, 12-game, and build-your-own plan options. You can pick or build the best plan for your schedule, whether you're gearing up for tailgates under the sun, the thrill of the home runs, or the eruptions of walk-off wins. Brewers mini plans have you covered for the 2026 season with specially discounted ticket rates and more exclusive perks in each plan. Check out all the mini plan options available for 2026 now at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Homer here from ESPN Milwaukee. What makes living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Dave.
The campus is beautiful. For me, nature is my church, and I love being outside. We live by the Bark River, and it's just it's calming. It just calms my soul. I just love it. A lot of the people, I'm talking about 100-year-old people, 90 years old, say they credit Three Pillars with living longer.
Imagine working with a contractor that quits halfway through a project or never calls you back when you have questions. Or worse, takes your money and you never see them again. Unfortunately, we hear about them all the time. Hi, this is Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, and Siding Unlimited is absolutely not that company. Siding Unlimited has been doing business for 32 years, proving to be an honest, ethical, and forthright company. If you're looking for the honest guys for your next siding, windows, roofing, and doors project, stop by sidingunlimited.com today.
Screaming Sicilian, more is amore. Screaming Sicilian, more is amore. Amore, pepperoni, amore, mozzarella, amore. Screaming Sicilian, screaming Sicilian.
Screaming Sicilian frozen pizza. More toppings, more flavor. More is amore.
Make your fitness goals last with Johnson Fitness & Wellness, the largest specialty fitness retailer in the country with 5 locations across the Milwaukee area. Johnson Fitness & Wellness carries the most diversified lineup of fitness and wellness brands. Their expert staff, white glove delivery, and installation, plus flexible financing help you build your home gym with confidence. For a limited time, save big during their President's Day sale, including free weight plates on select Force USA gyms. Visit one of their stores today or shop online at johnsonfitness.com.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde, with 7-2.5. John Anderson. Take it away, 7-2.5.
Willie, how many Super Bowls have you gone to that didn't involve the Green Bay Packers? Any?
No, definitely not. Not a lot. I went to the one that was played in Houston where Janet Jackson showed her boob and Vinatieri kicked the game-winning field goal. So I was at that one. That was the one, and I was glad I went because that, I believe, was after the 2003 season, and Favre didn't talk after they lost the 4th and 26 game. Mm-hmm. And so we hadn't talked to him at all. And he had to, I'll never forget this. He had to, he was there to accept the Snickers Hungriest Player Award. Very prestigious.
Yep.
And they must have paid him because Brett didn't do things for free. And so he went and received the award, and it included a press conference. And so Tom Silverstein and I were the only 2 Wisconsin-based writers there, and so we got him when no one else had talked to him. It was awesome. And, you know, we all remember 4th and 26. We tend to forget his frequently ill-advised interceptions that he would throw in postseason games.
I think somewhere I still have in my phone Freddie Mitchell's number, and it was an odd connection that I found the guy. This was before he went to the
you're referring to his inmate number or his phone
Yes,
number?
Correct. This is before he found himself incarcerated. But this is what he was still thanking his hands and not his defense lawyers who ended up getting him in the pokey. Did you enjoy Super Bowl week because it can be cumbersome, and I know it's exciting to people on the outside, but I always thought what I didn't like is there's so many people there that have no interest in covering a football game that sometimes it became just not fun, not the great week people think it would be.
So as someone who loves the storytelling, and I know you do as well, I did thoroughly enjoy the media access, especially I mean, certainly when it was the Packers that were there, because you have an incredible advantage in those big scrums because they see a familiar face and they gravitate toward that instead of all these yahoos and the guy dressed as a superhero and everything else. Now, that said, I would also say that when I look back on some of those Super Bowls, like, there were plenty of people that had very little interest in anything storytelling related or football related. Like, I get it if it's not just about the game, but I love the week. Like, if we had the fiscal wherewithal and wanted to spend our company money on me going down to every Super Bowl, and I didn't have two now high school daughters that I don't want to miss their events to go cover a game that the Packers aren't in, I would jump at the opportunity. Now, what I wouldn't jump at is Radio Row, because that is like, if you've got some juice and you get really good guests, it's great. But if you're kind of just begging and pleading for, I remember at the Super Bowl in North Texas, Adam Sandler was there and he was doing Radio Row. Right?
I interviewed him. Thanks. He let me touch his hair. He let me touch his hair. I said, "Hey, that hair can't be real." He said, "Go ahead, it is," and I did.
So that's great because he was there for quite a while, and if I remember correctly, like I think we did a show before you or after you or whatever it was, but like there were plenty of people that, I got stuck with who was the first overall pick, the quarterback, played for the Rams, played college football at Oklahoma.
Sam Bradford?
Sam Bradford. Thank you, Pebble. Yeah. And he was there selling Axe body spray. I got nothing for Sam Bradford. And I don't have a lot on Axe body spray either. And so those are kind of the interviews that you end up doing. So I could live without that. But yeah, I really, it was fun. And it's certainly even more fun when you're on an expense account.
What was the paper's per diem? We always said ours was Jimmy Johnson, $48 a day, the 48 car.
Yeah, I think how we tried to do it back in the days of being on an expense account and going these places was, I would always say, I'm going to try and skimp on breakfast and lunch and hopefully get it for free so then I could spend a little more at dinner. I don't know if that's what everybody does. But yeah, I think it was 40 back then. So you could still get, and if you were smart and you kind of robbed from Peter to pay Paul, you could maybe have one really big meal on the company. But again, those were the salad days of newspapers, man. Oh. Like they had money coming out of their ears. They hadn't started giving away their content for free on their websites yet. So I'm glad I got to be there for that part because
every big paper back then sent their guy. Regardless, every paper they sent 2 and 3 guys when I went down there.
They did. Yeah. And it was great because like you wanted to get local stories, but I would say this, and I'm glad that I have a journalism professor on the panel today because our youngest, Sydney, is a freshman and she has to do a report on what she wants to be when she grows up. And she has chosen sports writer. And she can't interview me, so she's interviewing her godfather, Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. And Charles texted me. He's like, "What am I supposed to tell her?" He's like, "I don't want to discourage her from doing what we do." And I said, "No, just tell her the truth. Like, there's realities of where sports media is right now. It's not the easiest place to be, but if it's what you want to be, then you got to follow your dreams." So whatever you have for her, I'll be hitting you up next for insights.
It'll be great. Listen, it's a noble profession. It's worth it. Don't ever be discouraged by it. What are the Green Bay Packers doing right now to ensure that they will be in Super Bowl 61? What's going on over at 1265?
Oh, they're hatching a plan. They're scheming. It's a great question, and I don't know the answer, frankly. We're going to talk to Goody tomorrow, and what I think is really interesting about where they're at is they feel like they were a Super Bowl team before injury struck. Otherwise,
Sure.
How else do you explain the approach they've taken, right? Here's the problem. I look at where their roster is potentially trending. Are they still a Super Bowl team? Like, they're going to basically allow almost everyone from that 2022 draft class to walk, right? They're not re-signing Rasheed Walker, who may still be at LaGuardia for all I know. They're not re-signing Dobbs, I don't think. They're obviously not re-signing Malik Willis. He's going to get an opportunity somewhere else. He's not part of that 2022 class that the Packers had, but he was in that draft. They're not going to. I don't think they're re-signing Sean Ryan. I don't think they're re-signing Quay Walker. So where exactly does that leave them in terms of how they're going to fill all those holes? Which, oh, by the way, they don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a ton of cap space to be spending outside. They're going to move on from Rashawn Gary, I would guess, if he doesn't take a pay cut. They're going to move on from Elton Jenkins, who was miscast as a center, I think we can now agree. So, if you felt like you were a Super Bowl team last year, then how are you going to make sure that you're a Super Bowl team this year? Because you got a lot of pieces that you're going to have to replace from where I'm sitting.
He can't let all those guys walk, can he?
I mean, he paid Zach Tom, and he's got Devontae Wyatt on the 5th-year option, and he's got Christian Watson on that 1 year. He's injured. We signed him to a below market rate to keep him and hope that it works out deal. That's it. I mean, I honestly, is it possible that Sean Ryan will hit the market and there won't be a lot of interest? It'll be tepid interest in him, kind of like it was. It was worse than tepid for Josh Myers. Yeah. But I would guess that there's a chance they're going to have all those guys walk. I mean, I don't see. I'll be really surprised, and I'm not against the idea of doing it, but I'll be really surprised if they re-sign Romeo Dobbs. Like, I don't know where that. Like, I don't know how much money they have to spend or how willing they are to spend it on a wide receiver position where they drafted 2 dudes a year ago. Like, right. You don't draft both those guys if you're planning on re-signing Romeo Dobbs. So,
what is the one question you can't wait to ask Goody tomorrow?
How long is your extension? Isn't that the first question everybody should ask?
Well,
the question is posed to Jason Wilde, 3-time Sports Writer of the Year.
Well, no, but so here's the difference, between what Homer does and what I do, because he's right in theory, but we don't live in the theoretical realm. If I ask that, he says I'm not going to get into that, and now I've wasted a question. Like, there's no way he's going to say, well, Jason, it's a 4-year extension, so I'm under contract for 5 years, and they're paying me $7.5 million a year. Like, I'm not going. This is always my argument, because the people on social media always get pissed off because they want these, kind of the way the media is depicted in the movies, where we're all yelling questions at the same time. That they want an inquisition, and I want to find ways. Tausch had a good line about kind of coaxing an answer, so I get an answer. Like, it doesn't sound tough, but Homer's always said that I'm sneaky tough. I think I'm okay at finding ways to ask questions that force a guy into answering them, even if he doesn't really want to. And that's a question that he can easily deflect. What I want to know is, Goody, you said last year that this team needed to increase its sense of urgency and compete for championships. Instead, you're sitting here with another first-round playoff exit You got some decisions to make on your roster, and you guys decided for you and Russ and Matt to all come back. How much urgency did you see last season? And now what do you do to be even more urgent after it wasn't enough last year? And we'll see what he says.
He's going to say we were as urgent as I thought to be. We added Micah Parsons. We suffered from injuries. We're ready to go at it again.
Yeah, I think look, I was critical of Goody because I really did think it was kind of the way he said that at the end of the season was kind of a for thee, not for me kind of a thing. Oh, the players have to be and the coaches basically, but I'm good. I don't have to show more urgency. And then and quite frankly, let's be honest here. The Micah Parsons thing doesn't change the fact that he was probably derelict in his duty of augmenting the cornerback position and the defensive line, because that is still a need for them now. I saw Rob Domofsky talking about it yesterday when Bulaga was on with you, Homer, and he's 100% right. I mean, I think we all feel the same way. Like, it's those two, and if they're going to let all these offensive linemen go, it's the offensive line. Those are the three positions that they have not replenished. And they may allow all these guys to walk in free agency so they have a bunch of compensatory picks a year from now, but they're going to get one, maybe two compensatory picks, and if there's two, it's going to be in the 7th round each of them, and if there's one, it's still going to be in the 7th round, most likely. So it's not like they've got a bevy of draft picks without their first-round pick to augment their roster either. So I'm super curious to see what they do because, if they let Quay Walker walk, they're going to need some help at linebacker. They already need help at corner, at defensive tackle for sure, and at defensive end, especially if they move on from Gary and don't re-sign Kingsley and Igbare. And their offensive line is a jumbled mess where they're relying on their first-round pick from a couple of years ago in Jordan Morgan to play at a high level after they dinked him around at a bunch of different positions. And frankly, he wasn't good enough to win the left tackle job when that's what he was drafted for. So this should not sound like a doomsday thing. They have plenty of doomsday time to figure it out. But they've got to they've got a lot to figure out. That's the reality.
Yeah. I want to know where Quay, I thought all along Quay was not there. And Quay seems to be like, yes, they're going to sign him. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they are. Like, why do we finally think we landed on him as a no? Is it strictly financial or?
No, well, yeah, probably. I mean, he told me in early October, on the record, which players never do, that there's a contract offer on the table right now, but I haven't signed it. Well, if he didn't sign it, then it certainly wasn't some sort of like boffo deal where you're like, oh, I can't. Hand me the pen quick before they change their mind, right? So, and I'm assuming that the number never got higher or didn't get meaningfully higher, and that's why he is where he is now. Again, it only takes one team. I think he flourished, obviously, with Halfley. I'm not saying the Dolphins are going to sign him, but I think if he's in the right system, I think he's a pretty damn good football player. And if he's in a system where you got him thinking all the time and playing hesitantly, then he's not that good of a football player. And so, again, it's always about fits. And if there's a team that thinks that what they run is a really good fit for him, I'm guessing they'll be willing to pay him more than the Packers were willing to pay him.
Thanks, Jason. Can't believe it, but we're actually over.
Yeah, no, hard to believe. All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Jason Wilde, all Packers all the time, 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, and all his stuff is on the app, ESPN Wisconsin, and you'll then discover how much he tells you and how much smarter you are. Tune into the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Bucks versus the world. narrated by comedian Charlie Berens, reveals the untold story of the '87 McDonald's Open when the Bucks became the first NBA team to take on the best national team in the world, the Soviet Union. Find Behind the Bucks on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher. More Super Bowl and 7-2.5, John Anderson. I don't know where that other thing came from. Next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Well, we got a new crash near the Marquette, northbound 43, just as you're getting on from 794 westbound. So shoulders are blocked, so that's going to be tightening things up through that area. We also have delays from Fond du Lac Avenue on the southbound side all the way down to the KK River crossing. The northbound side, by the way, backing up from Beecher all the way up past to Locust. We've got westbound 94, very heavy from 17th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound is going to be slowing down from Highway F to about Brookfield Road, and then again from 92nd Street to Hawley Road. And taking a quick look at 35th Street, it is backed up, especially on the southbound side between Wisconsin Avenue and Greenfield. So just be giving yourself some extra time if you need to get across the Menominee Valley. Traffic is brought to you by Racine Danish Kringles. Valentine's Day is around the corner. Time to get a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors. Order at kringle.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, a few clouds with a low of 9 above. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 25. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
According to Time Magazine, Gen Z is drinking 20% less alcohol than all previous generations. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Over our 65 years in business, we've stayed up on all the trends, where you'll always find 2,000 varieties of beer, 4,000 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines. We now also stock over 100 varieties and growing of THCA, CBD, and Delta-9 non-alcoholic specialty infused drinks. So whether you're experimenting with the latest wellness trend, or you just want something in your fridge that your college kid can call you cool for, come check out our expansive selection. And while you're at it, you do deserve that bottle of bourbon. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Courtney Cronin.
I don't feel like this Super Bowl is being billed for what it should be, which is a matchup between two teams that you might not have expected to be here, but are two teams standing right now for good reason. The Patriots defense gets all of the credit. I understand that. They have been incredible. But Drake May, despite being sacked 15 times, is still a very good quarterback. So much so that he's an MVP caliber candidate right now. And on the other side of it, we talk so much about this new dark side unit. That's what their defense is being billed as, the new Legion of Boom, the dark side. But offensively, what we're seeing from Seattle is something that just started to come alive. They finally have a run game. Sam Darnold isn't turning the ball over. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's been terrific all season long, has taken his game to the next level. So I want those storylines being talked about, not just, yeah, this is a ho-hum Super Bowl. Guys, it's the Super Bowl.
For 100 days, I'm going to cross the 7 continents because the answers to everything important are out there at the edges of our world. I'm stepping into the unknown. Where are we going? To see our planet
This is amazing.
as it's never been seen before, from pole to pole.
Pole to Pole with Will Smith from National Geographic. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Show me the way.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Fisco Auto Body, because they're that good and you'll like them and you'll like me for telling you about them. I admit it. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. How can they be this good? Because it's a family business owned since 1931. It's not what they do, it's who they are. And they're still running things. It's still the Fiscos doing Fisco Auto Body. Imagine how many years they've been working on it by the time they work on yours. That's how they can be so good. Expert workmanship guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. Any damage, Fisco has you covered. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. So you remember the name. This is the John Anderson Homer Hour. Thanks to Jason Wilde. And more on the Green Bay Packers. Since you have said that you didn't want LaFleur to continue as coach, how are you looking at this season, given they have a coach that you thought they could be better off with someone else? You're much nicer than me. When I felt that way about Bart Starr, I wished they lost every game because the last thing I wanted was him to do marginally well and then continue on, since I was certain while he was a great player, he was not a great coach.
I would be more than happy for him to win a Super Bowl and say, wow, Anderson, this proves how little you know about professional football. And that would be great. I would like to protect the resale value of any ticket I might not be able to make the home game. I would like them to win. That's fine. The thing is, I don't think that he can change my opinion of him until January. That's the only thing that goes between now and then.
What concerns
he can reinforce it, because if they come out and go 6-11, he can reinforce it.
Yeah,
but he cannot change it until the playoffs.
What concerns you most about him to have that opinion? And then I will have a follow-up.
What concerns me is everything that concerns me now. At what point will the team play a full game? At what point do I have a lead that is safe? At what point is a game truly unlosable, because it appears that they are not under, in this case, there is no, usually when they say no lead is safe, sometimes it's because of the other guys. But you're like, wow, no lead is safe in the hands of my own coach sometimes is troublesome. So all the things that concern me will continue to concern me. There's no new ones. It's going to be like, hey, can you finish a stupid game?
How do you fit your view of Goody in there in terms of, hey, Mr. Anderson, 7.5. It's about the players he's been given, not his coaching.
I do think you can always, short of having like the Bears 85 defense or the defense that delivered the Ravens championship with my guy Trent Dilfer quarterbacking against the Giants, right? Short of that, I think you can always find ways to upgrade your talent. But I feel like the team he had last year was fine. Like, he's got his own challenges now because he doesn't have a first-round pick. That's okay. I feel like that they made the right one. When is our guy going to be ready to go? When's Micah Parsons ready? I don't know that he's ready on week 1, is he? I feel like he's got a little pop in him before he comes back. So, you can tell me that the players aren't good enough, but they have shown that they are. And they have shown that they have high ceilings. But they've shown that to me at most for 2.5 quarters. And then that to me becomes coaching. And they've shown me that they have had games won and in the bag against the Chicago Bears during the season twice, postseason once, that there are games. Like, you can tell me that, but you have made those players, you've put them in positions, they have put themselves in positions to win games that clearly show they are capable. And then somehow they pull back from that. And that to me is the difference between the coaching and the non-coaching.
Well,
so
you are 7.5.
I feel like they have the ability. They've shown they had the players and the ability this season.
Sir, even though you're 7.5, John Anderson, what is your resume on these kinds of football predictions like that? Do you feel pretty comfortable that you're going to be right because you've been right most of the time, or hit and miss? Or because I know you are one who would remember things as to how you have been. Have you? Do you remember the biggest surprise of someone that you didn't believe in, or anything is from your resume?
Boy. No, like other than if the question is you never played, right? That's
no, I never say that. Anybody says that,
right?
I don't want to talk to them ever again. It has absolutely nothing to do of
I tell people all the
other
time.
than is your opinion correct or not? If you say, but Homer, you never played, that tells me I don't want to talk to you because you don't have an answer. If you had an answer as to why I was wrong, you give me the answer. That's so
I
weak
tell
sauce.
students all the time. If you get a coach that says to you, "Have you ever played?" then you've won the argument.
Yes.
That's you have. If he or she says, "Did you ever play?" then you have won the argument because they've run out of stuff and now they're just gonna attack. And you're like you don't understand how to make a double switch, or you don't understand that on 4th and 1 maybe you shouldn't hike it through two guys' legs and run a jet sweep when you could just literally have the quarterback push ahead and fall over.
Who's the oldest student you've had? I want to be your oldest student. How many classes do I have to attend to say that I actually took your class?
We could probably let you audit the class at any time, given your background. But you won the argument when that happens.
Yeah, you are. Yes.
I'm trying to think of an example of where you're like, okay, that guy wasn't. Where like I don't remember making.
I got to break because we're so
I don't
far
remember
behind.
making grand pronunciation that Ray Rhodes wasn't a great guy, but I'm like, I don't think Ray Rhodes is the right guy to run that team. I don't know that I've kept receipts along the way.
All right,
but
yeah, and Ron Wolf.
I knew Randy Wright couldn't play.
Okay,
but I don't
we'll
think
get to that
alone.
if we have time, but I've written it down. I want to talk about Milwaukee weight loss. I decided to do it when they asked me because other people had said they've done it and it works. So Milwaukee weight loss, I've been on it about 3 weeks. I'm down 16 pounds. Other people have even better stories. And I can tell you how to do it, all this stuff. But the question is, does it work? And will I have the weight off in a year or two? And people that have done it here, yes and yes. In addition, this Valentine's month, Milwaukee Weight Loss sharing the love with $300 off their Valentine's sale now through February 28th. And I can tell you the phone number. I don't believe in that. You're going to remember the site, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. I can give you all the particulars, but I want to do it because maybe it does work. That's what they said. And so far, it is. Next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. On this show, it's always football season.
I would have liked to have seen the process go a little bit longer. I would have loved to have seen them evaluate. And then if it still comes back Gannon, great.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It did feel like there was maybe a little bit of a push. If you don't bring him in and get him done now, he's going somewhere else.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Brewers mini ticket plans for the 2026 season are available now with 6-game, 12-game, and build-your-own plan options. You can pick or build the best plan for your schedule, whether you're gearing up for tailgates under the sun, the thrill of the home runs, or the eruptions of walk-off wins. Brewers mini plans have you covered for the 2026 season with specially discounted ticket rates and more exclusive perks in each plan. Check out all the mini plan options available for 2026 now at brewers.com/ticket plans.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
James Harden out of his way and on his way out of Los Angeles to go to Cleveland? The Cavaliers from the Clippers? That report came out involving James Harden and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Clippers could be working out a trade in which James Harden could be leaving a Los Angeles Clippers team that has the best record in the NBA over the last 21 games. They are 17-4, playing at an extremely high level. Not just James Harden being a playmaker, but also Kawhi Leonard, looking like the Kawhi Leonard old and not look like an old Kawhi Leonard. I'm sure it comes down to money because we've seen this before involving players where the team is going good and all of a sudden they want out because they're not getting the prerequisite compensation they feel they deserve. And we know James Harden at a certain age wants to make sure that that financial security is going to be there. But it doesn't make sense. If you keep winning, you're going to get paid more money. But then again, it's another institute known as the Clippers having a chance to clip. We've seen that before. In 60 seconds, the most to gain from Super Bowl 60.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just any tee, the band tee. You wore it everywhere until your best friend stole it. Now you're on eBay, and there it is. Same tee from the same tour. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. Where else can you find that mint trading card you searched everywhere for, or your first car, the one you wish you never sold? It has to be eBay. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I think Super Bowl 60 is going to be a really, really good football game between two teams that each won 14 games in the regular season, the Seattle Seahawks on one side and the New England Patriots on the other side. And it's very easy to say that, yeah, it's going to come down to which quarterback is going to play the best, Sam Darnold for the Seattle Seahawks, and then on the other side, Drake May of the New England Patriots. But I think the one that has the most to gain from this is a guy that's going to be coaching in this game, and that guy's Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots. People wondered after they moved on from Tom Brady and then they moved on from Bill Belichick, what could the post-Tom Brady-Bill Belichick Patriots look like? If this is what it's going to look like, not saying it's a second chance for a dynasty, but Mike Vrabel clearly understands how to coach not just players, but coach people. If he's able to do that as a player and coach win a championship, he's going to be the one with the most to gain if the Patriots beat the Seattle Seahawks. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Subscribe on YouTube. And now to 7-2.5, John Anderson. Purely football. Because Randy Wright I'd love to talk about. Most don't even know who the hell Randy Wright is now. About just football, what is your biggest concern or top concerns about the Packers?
Like everything, that they won't be able to block. Jordan Love still has to be able to be protected to be effective. Running backs has to be. Running backs have to have some place to run except into the back of their lineman or, the team picture of the defense. So that would be my concern.
And what do you want to say about Giannis? Say whatever you want. What do you want to say about Giannis? What do you just want people to know what you think in any way about Giannis?
I think he's the second greatest player in franchise history behind Kareem. I think they should do right by him, whether that is trading him to somewhere he wants to go or letting him serve out the time. And I ain't mad at him at all. I'm happy the guy brought the championship, and please, God, don't trade him for James Harden.
You would say that. You wouldn't want him to trade me for James Harden. You don't want James Harden. Admit it. No. Give me some salt. You don't want him for anything.
I'm going to give you this last one. I got to make it quick. Super Bowl. I'm there. I'm doing it after SportsCenter with Dan Patrick. And Sterling Sharp says something as a guest. He says, well, in Green Bay, they think I can walk on water. And I looked at Dan. I'm like, I'm from Green Bay. In the winter, I can walk on water. And then Patrick used it in the next segment and stole it from me. Kids, use your best stuff. Don't give it to somebody in a commercial break.
And you know what? You just did, but we had to wait the whole show to get the best stuff. Were you afraid if you led with that, everybody would turn off going, there's no way anything would be. There were other things you could have said to Sterling Sharp, and you didn't. John Anderson, 7-2.5. I love this segment. It's the national show next. I don't care if I'm late. I got 7-2.5, John Anderson. I almost want to be late just to prove my point, how historically important he is, and he saved his best story till last.
Enjoy the Pro Bowl, everybody.
I thought it was last Sunday. Next.
Well, trouble on 43 northbound, right through the Marquette interchange. The left lane is blocked with a crash.